Hey, teachers and paraprofessionals. I think I got a cool kind of little tool or app that I think you might like when working with kids during this distance learning time. I think one of the hard parts when we're working with kids away from them is we can't really work on the same document, write on it, and so forth at the same time. But this kind of allows you to do it. It's called Google Jamboard, and it's located right up here. I'm going to get rid of my picture here. I apologize. It's located right up here in your Google suite of tools. And if you click on it, it's going to bring you up to your Jamboard area. Now, I've got a whole bunch of them here. And part of the reason I do is you can share your Jamboards with each other. These are some of the ones that my paraprofessionals were working on today as they practiced. I'm going to just get to where my board is. I have one called Space. So how does this work? Well, if you click this plus sign down here, it creates what's called a jam. And the reason they call it a jam is because you can work on it together. To work on it together, all you'll do is you'll click share and put the person's email address in there that you want to share it with. And then you can both open it up and work on it at the same time. What they have here is they have these frames. They're almost like a piece of paper. And then they have some tools to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of step you through it and show you how I might use it. You'll probably think of some better ways. But let's say you have a math assignment. So with the math assignment, many times we want to work on it with the kids and guide them through it and so forth. Well, if I take this and make it into an image, I can bring it into Google Jamboard. So I'm going to use my snippet tool here, and I'm going to click and grab these problems. Once I have it in my clipboard, I can go to my frame here and I can simply do Control V and paste that worksheet in here. And what's nice is I can resize it as I go along. Now, many times for our kids, we find that this isn't a lot of space to do especially with equations, to get their problem done. So what's ideal is maybe let's just bring it into another slide itself, our new frame, by selecting the problem. And then if I go up here, this is where all my frames will eventually be. I can add a new frame by clicking the plus sign, clicking on that frame, which is now blank, and then bringing that problem in here with a Control V. Now I've got this problem where I can make it bigger for my kids so they can see it. And then I can have them do the problem with me. They can do it on their computer or I can do it. So in this case, I'm going to do it so I can show you some of these tools. This first tool is the pen, which I'll show you some of the attributes of it in a second. Then there's the eraser. This is to grab things. So this pointer allows you to click on it and move it. You can also rotate it and things of that sort. You can duplicate it. There's Post-it notes. This is where you can bring images in by simply looking in your folder for the image or grabbing it on the internet and so forth. And then this right here is a laser where you can draw their attention to it and then it disappears. So if I'm going to do this problem with my kid, I'm going to need a pen. The pen here has multiple options. There's the pen, there's the marker, the highlighter, and then this one is the brush. I'm going to do my problem in red and use the pen. So kids, what do we do first? Oh, we draw a line down the middle. Great. All right, Tony, what are we going to do next? Well, we got to divide by 6, he says. All right. And you could say to him, well, you do it. And he could do it on his board, and it would show up on your board. So he's going to divide by 6 on each side, he says. I'm going to do it for you here, but he could do it on his. What I like about it, it's big enough that you could still draw relatively well with your mouse. Then you could take over and say, okay, now I'm going to do it. And you could have him do it in a different color so you can tell what he did and you're doing. So it equals, x equals 3. And so you could do a separate problem on a different Jamboard each time. Or another option is, so these are my problems, but okay, I want to just take one of those problems. So I'm going to cut and paste it. I'm going to take the same problem, but this time What I'm going to do, because I don't want to go back and forth, I'm just going to shrink this assignment in between by grabbing the corners. I click on it, and now I'm just going to paste the problem in here and do the problem. When I'm done, I can click on it and delete it. And anything that you write here, obviously on here, you can delete with your eraser. And then when you're done, you can bring the problem back up, the worksheet, and go from there. So that's one way I could see us using it. Another possibility is many times when we have an assignment, we need a resource to use with it. So I'm going to create a new frame by choosing the plus sign here. And just so you know, you can grab these frames and move them in any order you want. So I have this blank frame here, and let's say I'm doing some science, and the science problems happen to do with molar mass. Well, I know if I'm going to do a molar mass problem, I need to have a periodic table. So let's first of all bring this worksheet in here by snipping it, making it into an image, and then going back to my Google Jamboard and doing Control V. I now have my molar mass worksheet, and I want to bring in a periodic table to work with it. All right. To bring an image in, yeah, you can go cut and paste things, but they also, if you go down here, it allows you to upload it maybe from your folder, or maybe you have it in your Google Drive, but you can also do the traditional Google search. So I'm going to do periodic table and see what we can find here. And what I like about it is I can bring in a resource that the kids are going to actually need to use. And so if I'm trying to figure out the molar mass, I need to know what the atomic weight is of chlorine. So here's my diagram, and where's chlorine on here? Oh, let's see. Oh, here it is. And it says it's 12.01. Well, when I'm done with the resource in between, I can shrink it up so it's out of the way, or I can leave it there the whole time. But now I have my resource along with my problem, and I can start doing my problem. Okay, well, if I have 2 chlorines, it's going to be 2, because I have 2 chlorines, times whatever the atomic mass was. A third way that I could see us using this is with text. If you're doing a reading assignment and you're supposed to work within the text. Well, many times when we work within a text, we ask the kids to circle and highlight and things of that sort. I can bring my text in the same way I did before by selecting it and then cutting it and pasting it into my Google Jamboard. Remember, I do Control V. And then once I have my text, I can bring it in and now work with it. So many times we'll have kids highlight key facts. So for example, okay, I'm going to use yellow here, but this time I'm going to use, I can use the highlighter, but I'm going to try this paintbrush because I know that it tends to be a little bit lighter. So now, okay, I'm going to work within my text here. And it says, when you smoke cigarettes, many chemicals enter your body through your lungs. Burning tobacco burns more than 4,000 chemicals. Oh boy, that's important. I'm going to highlight that. And the kid could be doing that also. And then let's see, what else do I want to do? Ooh, it says nicotine, carbon monoxide, and tars are some of the substances. Ooh, that's kind of important. So I want to add a post-it note about that. When you click on it, you can choose the color of it, which kids always find fun. And then you can type in here. So nicotine is found in cigarettes. Oops, cigarettes is spelt wrong. Ooh, I love Grammarly. And then once you have your post-it note, you can move that post-it note anywhere you want on your screen. So I'm going to put it right next to my information. And oops, there's not enough room here. Oh, you can just move it over. Wait, what about my text here, though? That's not going to work. Well, you learn as you go, I guess. So no big deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my eraser. I meant to do that. Not really. To erase my highlighting, and I can re-highlight it again by going here, remember, and pulling across. And now I'm able to get my Post-it note right where my text was as I'm reading. So just some ideas. I don't know, maybe it's not for you, but I think you might like it. Other things that kids will obviously have fun with, and you might too, is you can give it a background color. One nice thing to note is if you are doing any kind of graphing problems, I'm going to create a new frame here. You can get a background that is graphing paper. So if I go to background and do this, I do have some graph paper. The same thing is true. I can actually make it so it looks like writing paper. And they even got this dot stuff. I forget what you use that for. So that's Google Jam. And when you're all done with it, you can name it whatever you want. Mackin's demo. And you can go back and work with it at any time. The last part I want to share with you that I think is kind of unique is when you're all done with it, let's say you wanted to turn it into a teacher, like the problems you did, up here with this more actions, you can actually download it as a PDF or you can save them as pictures. So when you download it as a PDF, it takes a little bit of time for it to do it. But then if you look right here, when you open it up, you've got your PDFs that you made. That's the first screen. That was my second screen. There's my third screen. And here's my fourth screen. Obviously the little dot paper. So kind of cool. Well, good luck with it. I hope it goes well for you. And let's keep on sharing our ideas.